Run for your life, Clementine! There's walkers all over the place! Plenty of them! Kenny, you're in the middle of a fucking meth lab. Oh. If you guys have been up to date regarding Resident Evil 7, then that means you have seen their latest, well, short as heck clips of gameplay for Resident Evil 7, and pretty much giving you guys the relief, basically the sigh of relief, because I had suspicions saying that the game would end up being a run-for-your-life survival horror game, where if they were to do that, it would have nothing to do with the Resident Evil franchise altogether. I know Resident Evil is a survival horror franchise, but Capcom etched in combat to Resident Evil, and it's became a tradition when it comes to Resident Evil games. Hey, it's a sigh of relief that Resident Evil 7 is just gonna have things that make Resident Evil, except you're gonna be playing in a first-person perspective, and that's a sigh of relief. Doesn't necessarily mean, hey, let's hype Resident Evil 7 as the great redemption of the series. I wouldn't say that. Though I'm not telling you to be nervous about Resident Evil 7 either. Insert reminder about No Man's Sky here. If it's anything, it kind of teaches us we gotta be careful with what we're hyping up. Because there is a such thing as overhyping, and right now we're in overhyping being the most common thing to do for an upcoming game. But doesn't necessarily mean excuse the developers from not releasing a game that lives up to the hype. Sadly, no. You can use your free passes all you want, but when you're using your free passes, all you're doing is making the inevitable worse and worse and worse. You need to know that this game is being hyped up a lot. You cannot afford to disappoint people with this item. You need to pretty much add a lot and make everybody happy. Make sure it lives up to the hype. Because less and less people are going to be likely to be surprised when a game that has a lot of hype disappoints. And another thing to consider is how well is the Resident Evil franchise doing. And really, after Resident Evil 6 and all of these games that were like shoehorned out of the blue, it's not doing so well. If Resident Evil 7 disappoints everybody, if Resident Evil 7 turns out to be a fuck-up, then the Resident Evil franchise is going to be in the shitter. Everybody's going to look at the series as a whole and just see, oh yeah, Resident Evil is fucking dead. It's dead. It is a dead franchise. I know a lot of you guys are going to go ahead and call Resident Evil 6 an underrated game, and I do see where you're coming from. But here is the thing, Resident Evil 6 didn't had to be an underrated game. While, yes, Resident Evil 5 disappointed, but it did things more forgiving than Resident Evil 6. Though, I do think that Resident Evil 5 needed the 60 FPS, but hey, PlayStation 4 port, Xbox One port, PC port, fixed that. But unfortunately, people are still sour with the Resident Evil franchise right now. And here's another thing, with Konami fucking up hardcore, Silent Hill is like completely dead. The final nail in the coffin was the cancellation of Silent Hills. There is a huge possibility that Resident Evil 7's failure is going to pretty much be a humongous detriment to the survival horror franchise. Yeah, that's right. The survival horror franchise is going to be in a humongous cripple. And yes, I know that VR is kicking in and it's helping it out. But fucking up Resident Evil 7 is a lot of risks. And if something happens, consequences is not going to befall exclusively to Capcom. It's gonna befall to other people around Capcom. That is all I gotta say, and I'll be looking forward to you in the next video.